Assalamu alaikum dear students. By continuing same topic, the respiratory system, we are going to learn structure and function of the alveoli and the diseases of the respiratory system such as cough and colds, influenza or flu. Structure and function of alveoli. Here you are seeing two pictures. Picture on the left showing the outer structure of alveoli and the picture on the right showing the internal structure. The red arrow showing the oxygen entering into the alveolus by the process of inhalation and diffusing through the wall of alveolus into the blood capillary. Meanwhile, the blue arrow showing the carbon dioxide from the blood capillary entering into the alveolus through the wall of it and removing from the body by the process of exhalation. Let's see the process from the beginning. Structure and
In this video, we're going to look at the function and the structure of the lungs, and at how the alveoli are adapted to carry out gas exchange. In order to get the energy that they need to function, all of our cells must carry out the process of cellular respiration. And for that, they need oxygen. And this is where the lungs come in. Their role is to get the oxygen that we need from the air all around us into our bloodstream, where it can be transported to the rest of the body. Whenever we breathe in, air first passes through our mouth or our nose and then down our trachea, which is also known as the windpipe. From there, it divides between our two bronchi and then further divides between successive branch-like structures, which we call bronchioles. Once the air has made its way through all of these branches, it reaches these small sacs that are arranged like bunches of grapes. These sacs are called alveoli, and they're the site of gas exchange. Let's wipe all of this out and have a closer look at a single one of the alveoli, which we call an alveolus. The first thing to notice is that the alveoli are made up of just one layer of very thin cells, just like the blood capillaries that they're next to. This creates a really short diffusion pathway, which increases the rate that carbon dioxide and oxygen can diffuse across. Something that you can't see very well on this picture is that alveoli have a very large surface area. This is because instead of just having one, like we see here, adults actually have hundreds of millions of alveoli, and if they were all spread out flat, they would cover half a tennis court. Another feature is that the alveolar walls are moist, which allows the gases to dissolve, and this increases their rate of diffusion. Now, the blood in the capillaries that we see here has just returned to the lungs, having passed around the body. So the hemoglobin within the red blood cells will have already given up lots of its oxygen to the tissues, meaning that there won't be much left, which is why we've shown them as being blue. And as the alveoli are full of fresh oxygen, we have the perfect concentration gradient, by which the oxygen in the alveoli can diffuse down that gradient into the blood. And then our nice oxygenated blood can start the cycle all over again. The carbon dioxide, on the other hand, will be at a higher concentration in the blood than the alveoli, so it can easily diffuse across. And once in the alveoli, we can just breathe it out. Now, although we showed it in this picture, it's important to remember that carbon dioxide isn't actually carried by red blood cells, like oxygen is. It's just dissolved in the blood plasma. One other thing that we wanted to point out is that everything we've shown here is happening continually, all the time. The blood keeps on moving throughout the entire process, with a constant supply of deoxygenated blood entering the capillaries and oxygenated blood leaving it. Now, you've probably noticed that when you do exercise, your breathing rate changes. And you could be asked to calculate this breathing rate and give your answer in breaths per minute. It's a pretty easy equation though. You just divide the number of breaths taken by the time in minutes that those breaths took. So if you took 42 breaths in 3 minutes, your breathing rate would be 14.
Cough and cold. Their causes, symptoms and treatment. There is difference between cough and cold. A cough is a sudden clearing of the air passages, but coughing together with sneezing and a blocked or runny nose are signs of cold. Their causes are viruses which destroy the cells lining the nose and throat and causing them to break down. This gives us sore throat and runny nose. These are the symptoms. There is no particular cure or treatment for cold, although some medicines can relieve some of the effects of the cold. If you are healthy, your body will quite quickly overcome the cold viruses. Eating a healthy balanced diet, getting plenty of sleep and fresh air will help all. Precautions are: use a tissue or handkerchief to stop the viruses being shot into the air and infecting other people. Influenza or flu. Its causes, symptoms and treatments. Influenza is caused by a virus, although it is a different virus from the one that causes colds. Even though some of the symptoms are similar, these are the symptoms of influenza or flu. Fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, headaches, and fatigue or tiredness are the symptoms of flu. The flu virus enters the body through the eyes, nose, or mouth and travels down towards the lungs. Once the virus is in the windpipe, bronchi, and bronchioles, it keeps on multiplying. As the body tries to overcome the virus, it releases substances to try to fight it. These cause problems elsewhere in the body, including aching muscles, headaches, fever, and weakness. For the treatment, there are medicines to relieve the symptoms of influenza, but no real cure. There are vaccines that can be injected to try to protect people against influenza. But the problem is that the virus keeps changing and it is impossible to produce vaccines quickly enough to fight each new form of the virus. There are 200 different types of flu viruses. So it is difficult to form vaccine for each type. As with colds, influenza may make you sneeze. It is your body's way of trying to get rid of the viruses that made you ill. But keep in mind, the average sneeze will spread over 1 lakh viruses up to 10 meters. Therefore, always use a tissue or handkerchief so that you do not infect everyone around you.